Imagine waking up in a world where you're not at the top of the food chain, where creatures 3 times your size walk the earth, with strength enough to crush stones with their bare hands, where your children don't play in the streets because something is hunting on the other side of the mountain. This world existed, and God had to erase it from the face of the earth. But before doing so, he left evidence, and some of it should never have been found. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. This is one of the most disturbing passages in the Bible, and also one of the most censored, because it doesn't speak of metaphors. It speaks of something that really happened. Before the flood, before Noah built the ark, before humanity was reduced to 8 people inside a wooden boat, the world was dominated by a race that should not exist. The Nephilim, children of the union between the sons of God and the daughters of men. Hybrid beings, giants, creatures that grew to impossible heights, that had superhuman strength, that built entire cities with stones that even cranes today couldn't move. They were not human, but they were not completely divine either. They were an abomination, and for centuries they reigned. Let's talk about something that official archaeology avoids touching. Baalbek in Lebanon. 3 stone blocks, each weighing more than 800 tons, cut with millimetric precision, perfectly fitted, and no one knows how they were moved. Science says it was human work, but no known civilization had the technology for this. So who built it? Machu Picchu in Peru. 200-ton stones fitted without mortar, so precise that you cannot fit a blade between them. Stonehenge in England. 25-ton stones transported for miles. Easter Island. 80-ton stone statues erected without cranes, without wheels, without metals. The official answer is always the same. Humans did this with ropes and logs. But what if it wasn't humans? What if it was the Nephilim? Because all these structures have something in common. They were built on a scale that would only make sense for beings much larger than us. The doors of Baalbek are more than 6 meters high. The chambers of the pyramids have ceilings that a normal human would never need so high. And the underground tunnels found in Turkey, in Cappadocia, have narrow passages, but with very high ceilings, as if they were made for someone tall, but thin, as if they were made for giants. Now let's talk about the book that was removed from the Bible, the Book of Enoch. It was in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It was in the first versions of the Bible. It was read by the first Christian communities. But at some point, someone decided you shouldn't read it. Why? Because it tells the complete story of the Nephilim. Enoch describes how 200 fallen angels, led by Azazel and Semjaza, descended to Mount Hermon. They made a pact. They chose human women, and they reproduced. The result was the Nephilim, but not just giants. Enoch describes that these angels taught humans forbidden things. Advanced metallurgy, manufacture of weapons of war, cosmetics and seduction, astrology and sorcery, genetic manipulation. Yes, genetic manipulation. The Book of Enoch says that the Nephilim not only dominated humans, they began to cross species. They created animal hybrids, monstrous creatures, chimeras, and that was the limit. Genesis 6, verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. But the next verse is even more frightening. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. God regretted it. Think about that. The creator of the universe looked at the earth and saw that his creation had been irreversibly corrupted. The Nephilim not only oppressed humans, they were destroying the very essence of creation. Human genetics were being corrupted, violence had become the only law, and worst of all, the Nephilim were multiplying. So God made a choice. He would start over. But first, He needed to find a pure man, a man whose lineage had not yet been contaminated. Noah. Genesis 6 verse 9 says that Noah was perfect in his generations. The Hebrew word used is tamim, which means without blemish, complete, genetically pure. Noah was not chosen just because he was righteous. He was chosen because he was still 100% human, and God needed to preserve true humanity. Then came the flood, 40 days and 40 nights of rain. The fountains of the great deep were opened, and everything that breathed died, including the Nephilim, or almost all of them. Here's the problem. Numbers 13 verses 32 and 33. Moses sends spies to Canaan. They return terrified. The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Wait, the Nephilim were destroyed in the flood. So how were there giants afterwards? The Bible doesn't hide this. It mentions several tribes of post-flood giants, the Anakim, the Rephaim, the Emim, the Zamzummim, and the most famous of all, Goliath. Goliath of Gath, almost 3 meters tall, bronze armor, spear the size of a tree. He was not a legend. He was real, and he was a descendant of the Nephilim. So what happened? 2 theories. First theory, some Nephilim survived the flood in mountainous regions or through genetic descent in the wives of Noah's sons. Second theory, after the flood, there was a second invasion. Fallen angels returned, and they created a new generation of giants. Both are disturbing, but both explain why God commanded Israel to completely exterminate these tribes. It was not genocide, it was genetic cleansing. Now let's talk about the physical evidence. Giant skeletons. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, American newspapers published dozens of reports of skeletons, 2.5 to 3.5 meters tall, being found in ancient tombs. The New York Times, 1880, giant skeleton found in Ohio. Scientific American, 1883, remains of giant humans discovered in cave. But today, these skeletons have disappeared. The Smithsonian Institute is accused of having confiscated and destroyed this evidence. Why? Because they don't fit the evolutionary narrative. Giant footprints. In South Africa, there is a footprint 1 meter and 20 centimeters long, fossilized in granite. Estimated age, 200 million years. According to geologists, but this is impossible unless the chronology is wrong. Weapons and tools. 2-meter-long swords found in Europe. War axes that weigh 15 kilos. Who would use this? Historical texts. Flavius Josephus, Jewish historian of the 1st century, wrote, "Their bodies were enormous, and their appearance so different from ordinary men that it was surprising to see and terrible to hear." He was not talking about myths, he was reporting history. So why does this matter today? Because the story of the Nephilim is not just about the past, it is about the future. Matthew 24 verse 37, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." Jesus is saying that the last days will be like the days before the flood: widespread violence, total moral corruption, and genetic manipulation. Today, we are editing human DNA with CRISPR. We are creating hybrids between humans and animals in laboratories. We are developing artificial intelligence that can surpass human intelligence. We are repeating the same mistakes. What if the Nephilim return? Not physically, but spiritually, through technology, through manipulation, through transhumanism. Revelation 9 speaks of creatures that are not human coming out of the abyss in the last days. What if it has already begun? The Nephilim were not legends. They were real. They dominated the world, and God had to destroy everything to save it. But the question that remains is, if this happened once, can it happen again? The Bible says yes, and the evidence is everywhere. In the ruins we cannot explain, in the texts that were censored, in the skeletons that disappeared, and in the signs that something is returning. If you watched this far, it's because you feel it too. You feel that there is something greater happening, something that official history doesn't want you to know. So tell me, do you believe the Nephilim existed? Do you believe they can return? Leave your comment, share this video, and subscribe to the channel, but only if you have the courage to know the truth, because some truths change everything.